Hello, I'm Richard Raffan. In this video you're going to see me make this little warped pot. It's made out of very green elm. I knew it was going to warp and it's lurched off to one side. You'll see the bead cut with a 3/8 spindle gouge, and it's got a rounded base, so it wobbles around a bit. It's meant to be decorative rather than anything else. This blank is about 70 millimeters square. It's developing splits here. There's a split there, therefore this is going at the bottom. I've had to cut the top a little bit so that it fits straight into these jaws, and so I'll just go into, I think it was there. And often I only really do the bottom half of these little pots at the first stage. There's space there, so probably need to shift it slightly. Or do I know there's actually that's a much steeper cut. I'll just leave it where it is. Might have a slightly smaller pot, you never know. Since I'm standing right in line, which I don't normally, I'm standing in line because the camera's where I would normally stand. Half-inch spindle gouge, running at 2000. Cross grain. Foot on it. Take a little bit more off here. Still got a bit of a flat, so come in from there. A little bit of it there. Right, so that's going to the bottom of my pot. That I hope will fit into this chuck. Oops, a bit careless. Should fit into the chuck I've got here. Doesn't have to be that accurate. All I do want is a nice little corner for the jaws to go in. Drop the rest a bit. Now I'm just going to develop the lower part of the profile. Gets turned around. Again, bring that up just for safety. Probably wouldn't normally do that. Start to develop the shape. Do all that from here with the scraper. Drop the rest a bit, just so I'm working near a centre height. Just note here the tool's tilted up on its edge, and you want to keep the point of the cut in the leading half of the edge, in the lower part. If you let it drift to the top, it'll catch. Put a few little beads on. This is the 3/8 spindle gouge. You can see a little wisp of something there. I have to get that more of a curve. I was hoping to leave the camera there, but I can't because I have to stand here. First thing is to just true up the top. So 1/4 inch deep fluted bowl gouge. It's a 3/8 gouge just to get a hole started for the depth. In fact, I might even use this for the depth going up to the end of the flute. Now, to do this with the gouge, you've got to have a fairly full convex curve on the fingernail. Once you're in the wood, doesn't matter which way up it goes. It's nice to be able to see the flute. Now start with the bowl gouge, just shade high. Use a somewhere I have a 3/4 inch square end scraper and wrestling a magnet. Well, that will show me how deep to go. The rest comes up slightly, so it's tilted down as it cuts. Now I can use the corner, just kind of sweep it around. Now next, the aim is to take a shear cut in, and if I can get a rest almost at right angles to the direction I'm going, I've got better support for the tool. So it'll rest with the triangular shape, just gets in a little bit more easily. So the tool starts right on its side, got a fairly long bevel, and I'm aiming to cut down to about this point. I'm interacting with the light. The biggest problem really is the shavings jamming up when you're using a gouge. There's a kind of fairly thick down in there, that's about 1/8 of an inch. You can just see the cut proceeding through a gap between the tool and the rest and the side at about 7 o'clock. I'll be wanting to know how thick that is. I'll be wanting to know how thick it is too. So it's just about 1/8 of an inch, I would say. It is about maybe 3 millimeters, 2.5, so it's about 1/8 of an inch. I can see light coming through it. It's thin enough. Now from there I should be able to get in with my round nose. This is a fairly thick tool, it's 9mm thick, 3/8 of an inch thick. So the rest goes down a bit. I still want the top tilted down slightly as I cut. Mustn't forget the magnet. Certainly want a bit of extra weight left in this shape, otherwise it'll keep falling over. Now I have got around there all right with that tool. Just check again. No, not quite. So the alternative tool I use in this situation is Colton undercutter. This has a little stellite end. I'm down to the right depth, I know. I'll turn that round so the shavings can get out. So this has a swan neck, so I don't want the rest in close because any pressure there will cause it to catch. So I've got to have the rest out a bit, which is why I have a long handle on this. And just come off from where I was at the end of the gouge cut. Just try and swing the tool around evenly. feels like a pretty smooth surface. It's certainly quite a bit thicker in the back there. Oh, I thought I was in the gap of the jaws. Right, there we are. So I have quite a bit to play with. That's a relief. Right, so I can go down at least half that. So I can shift that back a little bit. The magnet on my wrist. Right, slight lump in the middle, which I need to get rid of, and I do that with the round nose. Oh, I might even go in there. No, doesn't quite fit. So I want the broadest tool I can get in there, which is that one, which is 1 inch. And the aim is going to be to feel where the lump is in the middle and go around in a circle and just come up from underneath. There's no point in trying to get right on top of the bump and then pushing, because you generally just make the lump bigger and pointy. Done. When you get it done, just be relieved. Don't feel you have to stick the tool in there for a regular 5 minutes or something. Now, into there, I don't need all that. A bit of a go with 120 grit. This is a pretty plain little bit of wood, so there's a good chance I'll see verdigris, cover it with verdigris or rust, in which case, if I am going to do that, there's no point in bothering to sand too much. That might come up nicely and carry on. Too hard about this, but if I'm lucky, that will just grab in there. Yep. All I need is a bit of plastic just to stop the jaws messing up the wood. I can go into there. Right, my problem is that I need a little groove just in the top there. Try and get that back exactly where it came from. Oh, good chance of stuffing it up altogether here, but right, back to the little gouge. with a 3/8 spindle guide. Quick burst of 240 grit. So that's what happens with metal onto wet timber, especially wet timber with tannins. And for safety, I should probably bring up the tail centre. And also help centre it, all that's pretty good. That's it, I'm just going to round the bottom off. Well, I could leave it on 3 little legs. Maybe I'll do that. That edge, this isn't cutting as I'd like it to. Try the 1/2" gouge first, otherwise it's a trip to the grinder. So I'm really just shear scraping with that wing of the tool. I think I'd rather just have it rounded. The 3/8 is sharp near the point. So. Right, I can risk it. Now that, being cross-grained, should just break off. Oh, should break off. The reason they made chair seats in High Wycombe in England out of elm was because they didn't split very easily. So this is what we've got here. Right, hand over the top. And I'm just going to help me to come in underneath. And I just want to dimple the bottom a bit so it's more likely to sit on a kind of rounded rim of a base. That will do it. Get your hand all the way around, it's less likely to come off. Now the reason I can grip on so little is because these jaws, in fact all the Vicmark jaws, have a very nice crisp dovetail on the inner lip, and on the outer lip too, come to that, which means you can grip, as you can see here, on next to nothing. It just opens up the options of what you can do so much. All you need after that is faith in your chuck. Okay, no chuck mark, no metal mark. Right, that will now go in the microwave maybe for 40 seconds, and I imagine this will come out oval. So in 50 seconds on cook, this has become a little pot with attitude, leaning over that way, as you can see. And the top at the moment is exhausted about 3 millimeters, but this is almost too hot to handle.